Hello, everybody, and welcome to Paranormal Nation Radio. Not so normal. How's Denise and Ron doing tonight? Hi, Nigel.
Did you see it too? Hey, Nigel, how you doing?
I never thought I'd see anything whiter than my own.
That's right.
So,
Yeah, I seen him get up and shut the door.
Yeah, we're all doing
widest
great, Nigel.
Legs
Thank you
I've ever
much.
seen. Frank's like, get me on here so I can fight back.
Oh, yeah.
No, we'll leave him down there.
That
So,
was
needless to
hilarious.
say, we have an inside joke.
I need eye surgery.
Yeah. Things they can't see behind the screen is
Yeah.
hilarious.
So I'd like to welcome everybody to Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal tonight. We have a special guest for you. We're bringing on Frank J. Bennett. Good. He's always on the show whenever we want some fresh meat on here besides us. So today it's going to be a little bit more tenderized than normal.
Yeah, it is.
Fresh meat? What the hell?
I know. Whoa.
Thank you. So I hope everybody.
You just got a glimpse of the other white meat, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, but usually it's me that's that white. But since we moved down here, not
She's
so
got
much.
a little color.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got a little sun on me, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, I
say
mean,
Frank needs to move somewhere where there's sunshine.
actually, he's been saying that. He said that on Facebook today, and he told everybody to say it without saying the F word.
Mm-hmm.
And so I use southeastern Alabama, because everybody I work with says I don't live in Florida, that I live in southeastern Alabama.
Want to bet?
Well, yeah.
It's just kind of like the boot heel of Missouri. It's not really Missouri, and it's not really Arkansas, but they always say it's Arkansas.
They say it's Arkansas, it's Tennessee, it's Kentucky, because it's all right there together.
Yep.
Well, when
In
we
that
lived in
blue
Blytheville, they always told us that we were in Missouri. But we were only, 4 miles from
it
Missouri?
didn't feel like the Arkansas I knew.
Right.
Yeah. It's just like when we lived in Lewisburg. We were 5 miles from Missouri, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Thank God we're 1,000 miles from Missouri.
Oh, now Missouri's not bad. Kansas, on the other hand,
It's getting bad.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. It's not the state that we moved to all them years ago.
No.
Well, anywhere you move in this country is not like it used to be years ago.
So how, Frank, did you happen to watch last night's show?
This one?
Mine.
I did not. I was busy having my legs waxed.
Oh, good. That explains why they're so shiny.
And bleach.
We don't want to know what else you might have had bleached.
Yeah.
But
Right.
No, I'm sorry, I missed last night's show.
so last night's show, I had on Mark Elliott Foltz. He's a local guy here that used to be local to Chattanooga. He used to do some of the walking tours there, and then he put his walking tour online, so it's free for everybody to go check it out. He's an author of multiple books, and he's been here about 5 years. And we decided to do the show live in his shop. And so that was interesting in itself.
Hey, Mom.
And what was funny about it is we're sitting there, like me and Ron, and, I'm having to look back at Mark when he's talking, because, it's rude just to stare straight ahead when you're talking to someone. But he had the shelves are painted white, but the wall was red. And so when you're looking at it, there's this white line between us, and everybody thought that we were on a split screen. And then he hands me something, and it comes across, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, we didn't know they were in the same room together." And I thought that he was handing it over. It
was perfectly divided down the middle of the screen.
Yep. When I looked at
the edge of a white ledge there.
That's all you could see.
And everything. You couldn't have planned it any perfect.
No. I mean, even if I'd have had the doll at my house and he had the same one there, we couldn't have timed it like that. but it was just kind of funny. But Mark was a great guest, and hopefully you'll get to go out and see it. Hopefully it's better on replay. But we had a good time last night doing our studio audience was Ron, so I couldn't really, I wanted to say live in front of a studio audience, and no.
Well, there were other people there.
There were lots of other people roaming around. There was a cat. It was making a lot of noise. By the time we left, the cat was screaming.
Hey, Mike. How you
Hey,
doing?
Mike.
But so, Frank, you went to a conference, a couple conferences since the last time we had you on. How did you do?
Very well.
Good.
Very well. But these are all shows I've done pretty much before, so they're used to seeing me, and the promoters are good people. So I did fairly well, and it's safe territory for me. And I've just decided that, given the business the way it is, that I'm not likely going to do any more dates for the rest of the year. So, I do what most people do. Cut my hair, stay inside, don't get any sun, and try to eat as much white meat as possible. I'm kidding.
Nigel, we're all great. At least I think so. Are we all great?
Yeah, we're all good.
We're all good?
Yep.
Okay. And Carl, you have an announcement to make.
Mawa?
Yeah, Carl, you have an announcement to make.
Oh, Carl.
Oh, yeah.
That guy.
Now,
Yeah, that guy.
yeah, this guy here. What do you do with that? We were talking about it last night and everything, but now, we're CC Paranormal team here and everything, but now I am part of, get this.
I can't see. It's kind
the
of
damn
blurry.
green.
Susan and Mike.
Okay, let me change this.
Yeah, it's your green screen.
It's my, it's
Things.
blurred background.
Missouri.
Things of Missouri.
Things of Missouri.
Things of Missouri from Things Network that we're live on. Now I'm the president of the chapter here in Missouri, Things of Missouri.
And how many chapters are there?
Oh my God, he is in 12 states, I believe, here in the United States, and 7 different countries around the world. Jeremy York,
Right.
the one that created Things Network and things there and stuff, has chapters all over everywhere. And he's out of Indiana or Ohio?
Indiana.
Indiana. Jeremy is. Yeah. Things Network over here. But
Because I know that there's a chapter over here in Louisiana.
Right. And I know Nick Muley is Things of Illinois and stuff.
Yeah, I love it. Illinois.
Adrian is Things of Colorado.
Right.
Out there. So we talked about it and asked and everything. And he said, yeah, we'll make you the chapter in Missouri. So
what all states, besides what we've already mentioned, are they in? Do you know?
I'm not for sure all of them and everything. We'll have to get Jeremy one of these days on the show and everything and talk about how Things Network has grown in 5 years.
Yeah, we've got to make our video for the anniversary.
Yes, we do. Yes, we do. We got to get that going and stuff.
And how many shows from our network are on Things Network?
Actually, this show is the only one on Things Network because their book's solid over there on Things Network.
Oh, yeah.
They've got shows 7 days a week, 6 days a week and everything. And Ghost Box Radio's over there like 5 times during the week and everything on there. Different shows, a lot of them over there. But our time slot here is reserved for Paranormal Nation Radio all the time. I've been trying to get your show scheduled over there, so we need to get it over there.
Well, the thing is maybe a replay can go over there, but I don't want to be I don't want to be competing with Sean.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
'Cause
I won't.
he has his show at the same time over on Things Network.
And I've been on Sean Whittington's show 5 or 6 times. I've even hosted his show in the past. So, like I said, I would not want to be played over him. So unless I change the time of my show, I don't know if that would happen. I mean, but I think his show is 2 hours on Monday nights still.
I believe so. He's got one on Monday nights, and I believe he's got one on Friday nights now, too. So, yeah.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, we're doing real good for that and everything, but we all want to thank Things Network. Go over to their Facebook page, like it, share it, all their shows over there.
It's really good to see this because, from my viewpoint, the paranormal community is really in just a lull. There's really not much going on. Good programming has left the air by and large.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and they keep turning out the same BS in Hollywood, and nobody's learning anything except, blood and gore sells and sex.
Well, and demons.
And we're just, the paranormal is just in a real sleepy state right now. It's not really going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
There's not a lot of good programming coming to TV this year.
No.
It's just
and you notice a lot on paranormal podcasts. Used to everybody talk, well, like Denise's show. You're always talking paranormal with somebody and everything. A lot of the shows, the topics go around like we do on this Paranormal Nation Radio, Not So Normal, a lot of times. And you're seeing a lot more of that.
Yeah. And, I've done some shows that were survival based, other interests that I have. But when people see the Paranormal Pride, I don't know why. I mean, because we say this show's not so normal, they expect something different.
Yeah, they expect something not so normal.
But with Paranormal Pride, they expect paranormal. And I mean, I've tried some guests I've tried to have on would not do my show because it was said paranormal.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what I'm experiencing. It's the same old, no matter where I go in this country. And some of the shows I've done, live events I've done this year that were supposed to be creepy and horror and paranormal were really just disguises for parties. The one I did down in Knoxville, Tennessee this past, I think it was August, I really wish I could take that back because it had, the old creepy crap all over the place and people selling their Halloween wares. But quite honestly, it was just a veiled attempt for a big block party. And quite honestly, if I can't hear what somebody's telling me standing in front of my table, I don't want to be there.
Right.
Well, that conference that we met you at, if we didn't go outside, we couldn't hear people.
Yeah, you could.
I mean,
speaking right there.
Yeah, they're speaking. Well, as you spoke, you were speaking right there in the same room where we were doing the paranormal conference.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my friend Jean in Kansas City, who has written a really incisive book about her experience with UFOs and alien abduction. She has a very sweet and demure voice. And when I play back the recording of her giving her talk, I swear to you can't make out a single thing she says because of all the ambient noise in the room. And quite honestly, what the heck we're doing this for if you're trying to turn it into, something you can do every Sunday at your house? Yeah.
In fact, I have to go back and listen. Kat spoke at the paranormal conference here in Pensacola about.
You mean potty mouth?
Yes.
Yeah.
We hung out for 2 days back in September, and she spoke about UFOs, UAPs, that kind of stuff, about all that. And for 55 minutes, she was supposed to have a speaker with her, this astrologist guy.
Chickened out.
And he left. I mean, he didn't decide. He didn't want to talk to her. He met her. He talked to her, and he walked away. And
he was weird.
He was weird. I mean,
I'll be fair. Not everybody came into this world with one of these that works the way it does. I mean, I'm kind of made for talking the way I do, but you know, when you're given the I would say obligation to stand up and inform people and tell people your story, it's a job.
it is.
Teaching. Learn to talk. It's not, nobody's going to attack you or depants you, though that we have thought about doing it to some people. It's your job to communicate to some people, you know. And I've seen some pretty big names in our business get up and they were just duds. You couldn't make out what the heck they were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good night, Nigel. Thank you.
Good night, Nigel.
So, but the big thing is that this guy didn't tell her he wasn't going to come. And we, you know, as an audience, we politely waited, you know, enough time for him to make an appearance. But she asked me to videotape it. Now I got to figure out how to get it off my phone and onto a flash drive so I can give it to her in a couple weeks. But I haven't listened to it to see if I can hear her. But I mean, I only sat one row away from her.
Right.
So hopefully it sounds good. And, you know, you can't test that in advance when you're recording unless I knew that I was going to be, you know, doing it at the time. But disclosure, that's what she talked about, disclosure. And maybe you should let me play it for us sometime because it was a really good talk. But I know some people ask questions and I couldn't hear them. I mean, it wasn't like I go take my phone up and put it in their face. Can you say that again? So when you spoke did you speak at this one in Knoxville?
Yes.
What did you speak about?
Yeah, it was actually, I do want to kind of compensate and say that the crew set up everything very nicely. It was a very nice setup for the kind of show it was. Very, very professional. And if I'm able to just simply work around the room and make one-on-one contact with people, hear their stories, hear their questions, and tell them what I've got to tell them, it's a good show. Doesn't matter how many people are in the room. It really doesn't matter. Because people know what they're getting when they show up. And of course, I tell them about my encounter with the Aberdeen Wild Band and other encounters with other beings and stuff like that. But also want to make it clear what the paranormal is and is not, and how you could be sitting right next to it and not know it. That's another thing that's quite major for me. But also, I need to bring it down to earth. I need to take away this veil of mysticism about it. Because if it operates within our world, somehow it's operating beyond our physical laws, and I need to get their minds engaged on working with that. How is that happening? And how is that happening right in front of you? That's my goal to this. Get them to work on it.
Yeah, make them think.
And not talk about Bible prophecy. I can immediately see people tuning out. But you see, my goal isn't to show you what I know. My goal is to get you to look for yourself and say, okay, well, he says that, but I better go check it out for myself. And if they do, that's what I wanted. You go look for it for yourself and check me. I like that.
Yeah, it's just like, there's the people that send you their pictures and say, hey, can you look at this? What do you see? And when you say you see nothing, they get upset sometimes. And no, April, I'm not talking about you, but there are people out there that, will send me a picture and I come back and tell them it looks like dust to me, or I don't see what you think you see in this picture. And Carl has seen me tell people, Ron and him will see something in a picture and I'm going, I don't see it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't. And there's nothing, you can't force me to see it, and you can sit there and point it out all day long and I'm not there. I don't have pareidoia ever. I don't see faces and things. And I wish I did sometimes because it'd be neat. But do you have people that get upset with you about your answer to their question?
Just disagreements. Nobody gets upset. Just disagreements.
Okay.
Yeah, people see it from their own point of view. Like you were just saying, the both of us will look at one photograph. I'll see a face in the mist, you won't. And, you can disagree, but that's just simply the way it is. And why is my mind seeing it? Your mind isn't.
Right.
Yeah. One day we were driving home. Hey, Caitlin. We were driving home on 69 Highway in Kansas City. And I look up and Leah's with me. And I look up and there's this cloud. And it looks like Donald Trump. I mean,
you guys took a picture,
yeah, I took a picture. Yeah. I didn't. I was driving. Leah took a picture, but it was like his side view, hair and all, and of course it changed in a few minutes because it was a building cloud. But it made me laugh. I said, because I never see this stuff. I just happen to be driving south, and here's this cloud.
You know what's funny? I remember with my wife watching an episode of Paranormal Fact or Faked or whatever it's called, a Paranormal Caught on Camera. Right. And somebody was obsessing about a cloud formation that looked like Donald Trump.
Oh, it wasn't me.
I don't remember the episode, but yeah, I distinctly recall that.
Yeah, I think it's caught on camera.
Well, it was just one of those days, I guess. I mean, there have been times where I've seen it looks like a whale. And it's like, but it changes so fast you can't, because we all want to see something familiar in things. But I mean, like I said, I have had people that have gotten upset with me at the Sally house when I would say something along those lines, to the point where I got that's an interesting picture, is what I started saying, because I didn't want to upset people.
Well, unlike a lot of us, don't take what I say as a complaint, because I know how the bread is buttered. But people, for one reason or other, become prominent over others, and there's no rhyme or reason to it. It just happens. Okay. As a matter of fact, I know a verse of scripture where Jesus' disciples were, Jesus got mad at them because they were mad because they didn't understand why some people do well in this world and other people are made to suffer. They didn't understand it, and Jesus was impatient with them. And so it is with the friends we have in the paranormal. Dave Spinks is a name I could throw out there. Also, people who have risen to a certain level of prominence and had their name become prominent, and a whole bunch of other people in this industry get jealous and just want to be challenging. I mean, you shouldn't be standing in a high, lofty position. I should, or something like that. And when they do that, they forget why they're doing it.
Yeah.
And why are you in this business anyway?
Right. For the wrong reason.
And the thing is if it is a business, it's a whole different thing.
Right.
Right now, what I'm doing to help, educate, and have fun. I'm not making a dime. I'm spending more of my own money than I should on stuff.
I do this because, there are people out there going through right now what I went through growing up, and they can't see it because it's right in front of them. I had the benefit of hindsight and having been saved. I'm in this to help them see it could be happening to them and why.
Right.
Now I'm thinking of a question. Hey, George.
And this is why I do so many live events all over this country, is because, and sometimes you get fooled into thinking you've wasted your entire trip. You drove the hundreds of miles, you checked into the motel, you set up, you paid for the table, and you're sitting there on the second day thinking, man, I blew all my money down here. What a crappy event. And this one person comes up and very, very gingerly, cautiously tells you this tale of a spirit that might be haunting their house. And when you peel the onion, you realize it's not just a ordinary haunting. They're being abused in many ways. And they didn't know you were going to be. Most people say, I didn't know you were going to be here. Mm-hmm. And they don't know why they came to my table. But they're glad they did, because I went through it. And, if I can't help you, I know people who can. Mm-hmm. And, I'm just, the whole show was worth it for just that one thing. It was all worth it for that one moment.
Yep. And I agree, because I know there's been shows that I've gone to that I've loved every single minute of it, and others where I was stressed out to the max, and one of the ones I was stressed out to the max for. But it is what it is, and I don't know. I love hearing those stories. This last conference we went to, we heard so many stories, and we were just attendees. We were not speakers. We were not anything else. We basically manned Kat's table for a little while,
Yeah,
so
we had
she could
people
eat
just
and
come
stuff.
up and just start telling us their stories.
So
They're looking for somebody who will understand.
Yeah, they would listen.
That's
and
it.
laugh at them.
And
Right.
George, yep, we have become more opinionated, and we always do it nice. There's never a time that we're not nice when we're trying to explain the difference between dust, water,
Yeah,
and something
the
that might be
pictures-
real.
Pictures are a little harder because
Photoshop
you can
exists.
Photoshop about anything. And there's some people who are really good at
And
it.
there's some apps that you can put on your phone if you're using your phone that changes what's in your picture.
If it's
Actually changes it.
somebody I know and trust, I look at it a lot harder.
Oh, hell, Leah's camera's got a thing where you can take the picture and get rid of anything in the background.
Oh yeah.
But it's just somebody we don't know and they just send a picture. It's
not that we don't trust them.
Yeah,
we just can't.
No.
Unless
trust-
we were there.
Yeah, we
I
can't
don't
trust
know.
the
It's hard to
situation.
do.
People get the evidence without even trying to. One of the best pieces of evidence I ever came across was from my friend Cindy Smith. I can't reach up and grab her book right now because there's a lot I would like to conceal at the moment. Thank you very much. But she took a picture at an indoor rodeo event,
Mhm.
and I had posted it on my Facebook a long time ago. But it was right in front of her, an image of a horse and a rider going by. It was a very faded image. And you ask yourself, are both the horse and the rider ghosts, or could it have been something else? But she didn't know that image was there until it was I think developed. I think it's an old image.
So an old 35 millimeter.
Mm-hmm.
The bad part about those is sometimes they were double
exposures. Yeah.
Double
Right.
exposure.
They didn't sit there
Oh.
and move it.
The
And
one
then,
you guys got that trail cam of that horse out there. That's you couldn't have done that. That's a
Yeah,
trail
that's
doing.
and
And it's
I've
pretty
looked at it and
obvious
looked
on
at
that. To
it.
me, I can see
Like
it.
to break it down, but still,
Right.
it's one of those pictures that it's got you intrigued,
Oh yeah,
trying to figure it out.
yep, yeah. And that's in an area where there were definitely horses
Oh yeah,
in that
and
area.
people have seen horseback riders down in there and everything. The sheriff's department, especially,
Mm-hmm.
had seen riders on horses, and they don't go back out in that area.
No,
Mm-mm.
they're scared.
Yeah, as the old sheriff told me one time when we went up and told him we'll be out there investigating, and he said that's fine because if anything happens out there, we're not
Yep.
coming out until daylight.
Yep.
So, but yeah,
Well, the reason why I brought up that image that my friend Cindy sent me of the horse and the rider, she doesn't remember anybody being there at the time because they hadn't set up for the next event yet, for the next run in the course yet. But I had been a long time a proponent of the idea that if spirits can give thoughts and intimations and images to psychic mediums, why can't they also give images? And what if a spirit who had lived with a certain person for a long length of time, that was a part of that person's memory, and they're just simply communicating or showing you something they remember having seen a long time ago?
yeah, they were, Anthony.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
But yeah, there's a lot of things. But what gets me is you take a picture,
You got
you
that picture?
examine it, you save it, and all of a sudden you go back a week or two later on your computer where it was saved,
Yeah.
and it's no longer there. Or on your phone, it's no longer there. You know, it makes you wonder, can the spirits delete them, take them off?
Well, there's
Or
a
they-
section in my first book about spirit photography, mostly the history of it, but it still does continue to this day. Images being removed after the fact is something completely new to me.
Yeah, we've had a lot of that, and I've heard other people talk about, well, I took this picture and I seen it, but I can't find it anymore. So
Yep.
it makes you wonder a lot of times.
I would agree.
Do you have that picture handy? The
I
horse?
have to go, I got to go dig
The
it.
horse. Let me go
I
see if
picture
I got.
his.
Let's see, overlays.
Yeah, April. We could. The
Yeah.
video you said you had the EVP. We couldn't hear it.
There it is, Frank.
Okay. I see an eye
Okay.
in the upper center. The first thing that jumps out at me, there's an eye, there's a face there, but it's someone's left eye in the upper center of the photograph.
Okay.
Just look at it from afar. You'll see a horse with a mane.
Yeah, I see what you're talking about.
Yeah. Are you talking about as far as the rider?
No, there's no rider on this horse.
This one, it's there. They say the spot is darker where it's at, isn't it? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
If
Yeah,
this
it's
is an image,
definitely a horse.
yeah, definitely. If this is an image of a horse, there's no rider. But the thing that jumped out immediately was that eye looking at me in the upper center of the photograph.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, this is the trail cam that shot it, which something set it off to take the the picture.
Right. But yeah, it's one of those unique pictures and everything. So you can't say it's normal. You can't say it's paranormal. You can't say anything. It's just what anybody takes in it that looks at it.
So, like I said, pictures are interesting. That's all I can say. I know that there have been times where we talk about orbs every now and then, but I've seen some with my eyes, no camera involved or anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
And one time I was using, Ron got a phone. Okay, that's right there, an unusual circumstance. Ron had a phone, and I didn't have a flashlight, and we were in a place where we needed a flashlight, but he didn't have flashlight on his phone. We didn't have everything we needed. So I used the video camera, and I'm holding it above my head.
Hey, Michael.
So I'm holding it above my head. I can't see anything other than the light. And I'm telling Ron and the guy that's with us, Joe, and I go, there is an orb following you guys down the hallway. And Ron goes, well, did you get it on camera? And I go, I don't know, because I wasn't looking at the camera. I was using it as a flashlight. So I pull it down later on and I look at it and it's like, yep, got it. But it was only because of, an accident that I got it, because I didn't know that I was taping it. Yep, Michael, we've seen a lot of stuff.
That's the size of a beach ball.
Yeah. Down the hall. So, but I'd like to say hi to everybody I didn't say hi to before.
Right.
So
hello to Bill and Michael and April. Anthony Lewis is here. Bill Schultz, of course. George Shinopolin.
Yeah, like I said, I told you the last time we were on, he was on Ghost Adventures, and he was my last interview on Paranormal King Radio Network.
Oh,
Him and his
that's
wife.
right. Yep, that's right.
Who's
In
it?
fact,
Sure.
my dowsing rods, his wife made. The ones
Oh.
with the purple and the purple, the amethyst, and then the ones that have the
The
quartz.
ones in the car right now.
Yeah, the ones that are in the car right now.
Right. The
I'm
ones you
trying
used at the cemetery.
Yeah, I tried. I just,
Yeah.
I'm still recovering from ant bites. My
Right.
feet got ate up. 10 feet from a UFO.
I told you we'd be intact in the graveyard.
Oh, yeah. But
Yeah,
yeah,
we were.
You're in Florida, and
Yep.
at the last house I owned in Florida, there's ants are useful, especially those little suckers down there, because
I have
snakes are very common. And if I ever had to kill a snake, I just drop him on top of the ant mound, and he's gone the next day.
Oh yeah.
well,
Oh,
we
really?
found a way to get rid of ants here is grits. In fact, we were walking around the graveyard and we kept finding grit piles where they had been trying to kill the ants there with grits, like we do here. So
How does grits kill ants?
it's like rice and birds.
Oh, it gets all puffy and stuff. So
Yeah.
so the ants die from obesity.
Well, what they do is they take it back to the queen.
So here, baby.
They're all fat.
Try this.
And
We
they
got some
force
new
feed her,
stuff.
and she explodes, and they have to go somewhere else. They have to find
Yeah.
a new queen.
Talking about getting your queen knocked up. Wow.
So grits, everybody. Grits will save you from ants. Don't leave them around your house. Put them outside, because otherwise
Right.
you're drawing the ants into your house. But they take them back to the queen, and that's how they get rid of them.
Right.
We had a horse that was killed by a UFO. 1977 was a weird year, I have to just say.
I would like to write a book about the year 1977. I had often thought about it. Yeah, it from all aspects. I'm talking globally. You pay attention to what was going on in the world
Oh my gosh.
in 77. I mean, it's just like I said, peeling the onion. Oh, that happened. Oh, that happened. Oh, that happened. It would be a good book.
It would be. I mean, for me personally, it was the first time I went to Gettysburg.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, I was 12. I was the weird kid, which didn't help either. So, what else happened in 77?
How can you be the weird kid in Gettysburg?
I was the one that saw ghosts.
Yeah.
No.
And I had already been told at that point not to tell anybody what I saw.
Right.
So
Well, let's see. 77, I got out of high school.
Well,
That's about the only thing I know went on in 77.
as an eye opener, just research anybody who passed, all the famous names that passed away in 77. First one you go to is Elvis, blah, blah, blah. But I mean, beyond that, the list is enormous.
it is.
Mhm.
Oh, the list is enormous.
In 77?
Yeah, a
Oh, really?
lot of big famous people left the world in 77.
Huh.
There's something weird was going on that year. I just know that we had a lot of different things happening when we were there. Back in Baltimore, all kinds of shit was happening. And I remember a bunch of stuff happening that we couldn't explain in Virginia and New Jersey.
Wasn't that the
So-
year that a bunch of crop circles and everything was starting to be reported on the
Yes.
news and
Yeah.
everything?
Well, that's why they gave Nimoy that TV show In Search Of. It was just so much to talk about that year.
In Search Of is the concept back then was so interesting, and then now they have it. They've revived it on Netflix, and some of the shows on there are horrible.
They revived it with the guy Zachary Tinto, who played Spock in the new movies. With him, and it dropped like a rock. It just failed right out. So that concept is dead. But, and you got to ask yourself, why do concepts like that die, but Shatner keeps churning them out one after another? without end.
Maybe because he did not make a deal with the devil. And I don't think that he ever took anybody's criticism of him as criticism. Maybe he took it as creative feedback.
Yeah. There's a lot to dislike about the guy, but there's a lot to admire too. Is the fact that at 93, he just keeps going and going and going.
Who's that?
William Shatner.
Oh yeah, Shatner. Yeah, he's still alive.
Now
Yeah.
I never met him. I've done a few shows where he was on the bill, and he Bill, and I've had like Bigfoot Shatner sightings where he went marching past my table and looked at me and my books and all that. But I've never actually met him. But he always struck me as somebody who always just kept charging ahead.
Well, when we interviewed Tanya, she had nothing but good things to say about him.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about Tanya.
Yeah.
I did not. I really liked her. She's really nice.
Did you read her book?
Not yet. I just haven't had time. I haven't
Wait
had
till
time.
you get to the Shatner part.
Oh, shit.
I was at a live event and I was talking to Walter Koenig, who played Chekhov, and I had Tanya's book, and he didn't know Tanya had written a book, so I gave it to him to read during the show,
Mm-hmm.
and he and I had a long discuss about the Shatner portion of Tanya's book.
Oh,
Mm.
well, when I have some downtime,
I guess I should have watched more TV when I was little.
Now
Right.
listen,
I shouldn't.
we're talking about really class actors here. I mean, these guys are all accomplished actors, and
Well,
Shatner too. But
think
really,
about all the good things she also said about Elvis.
Yeah.
I mean, she had nothing but
Oh yeah,
Respect.
nothing but good.
for Elvis. And,
Mhm.
a lot of people, this is a type A personality, at least on the outside, but apparently on the inside, he was not. That was
hardly
the-
insecure.
Yeah, very. But it was really nice to hear from a firsthand perspective of what she thought about all these things. And I'd like to talk to her again after I read her book because
Mhm.
Yeah, never met him, but I kind of get the impression I would have enjoyed it if I did, because something in Tanya's book that jumped out at me is how when he arrived on the soundstage and doing the comeback special she worked on, is that he made it a point to walk around and introduce himself to everybody personally. And over the years, I've met a lot of celebrities who actually, well, not a lot of them, but some of them who actually do that, and they leave an indelible impression on you. They don't have to do
Hi,
that.
Bart.
Yeah.
Yeah, Bob Fuller is the first one that comes to mind. He's a guy who just walks around and introduces himself to everybody, and he doesn't have to. Everybody knows
I
who
mean, that's normal if you normally like people.
he is. Mhm.
Some
Mm-hmm.
Some people don't
Yeah,
like people.
yeah, I know that.
Yeah.
So
I
Michael
mean,
says
when
we
I
should
go to
do a
live
Bigfoot
events, I
show.
make it a point to walk around and meet all the other vendors, and if nobody's talking to celebrities, I'll stop by and say hey to them too,
Mhm.
and they'll ask. And often I get asked by a celebrity, so what were you in? And I say, well, most recently my wife, and then I move on and just leave them to figure the joke out.
Lucky dog.
what?
On her phone.
No,
Yeah.
That's the good
I
part.
heard it all. Actually,
On her phone.
I've got us a guest for next Tuesday.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Mhm.
They just got my message, and
Oh, did they?
yeah,
Oh, they did.
yes.
Okay.
So guys, there you go.
So
We got
Michael
it.
says we need to do a Bigfoot show in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I saw that.
And he wants to be part
If
of
he
it.
wants us we wouldn't be very good. I haven't
Hey,
seen.
we can go out and knock on trees.
I did. I
But
did.
if you go down in Oklahoma at a certain time, you got to remember there's a hunting season for Bigfoot in Oklahoma.
You
Maybe
probably
that's
get your
the
own
way to
show. Just go around knocking on trees.
Yeah.
Nah, that's
That's
when you
where
won't
if
see
you're
them.
out hunting, you make sure you're not wearing a ghillie suit out there.
Right.
Yeah, make sure you're wearing something bright orange so people can see who you are. or something that at least glows in the dark so their night vision
Oh,
camera
you
catches
get something that flashes on you and says, "I'm not Bigfoot."
So,
Yeah.
and
Well,
April,
it reminds me of an episode of Third Rock from the Sun where one of the characters is walking around the woods wearing this big fur jacket, and they said, "Take that off! The hunters are gonna shoot you." And he takes it off. He's got a big bullseye on his T-shirt.
Right.
well, you know, there was a while there I kept thinking that I had a target on my ass. So everybody kept
Well,
trying to hit me.
Michael, what part of Oklahoma do you live in? Because he says it's scary out there.
Okay, we were just talking about this the other day about should I be scared? You know, you've heard me ask the question, should I be scared?
Scared.
Should I
Come
be
on, say
scared
it
when I
right.
go in the woods?
Scared, right?
Of
Right.
Bigfoot.
Uh-huh.
The East Coast.
So
Wagner.
That's-
Okay.
Well, in
That's
answer
what I
to
wanna
the
know.
question, there is no answer to it because some spirits self-illuminate. There's this appearance of reflecting light back.
On Anthony's question?
Right,
Oh,
reflecting
yeah.
light
He asked
back.
a lot of really good ones.
Most are self-illuminating, so there's really no good answer to the question.
Right.
and April, I think I have somebody that I'm going to try to get on that may be able to help you with
Trying
your
to. Still working on it.
dream stuff because I'm working on it. So
In April, I hope Elijah has good luck tonight on his bear hunt.
you guys going to have bear bacon for breakfast tomorrow?
What if he accidentally shoots a Bigfoot? You get in trouble
That
for
would
that?
be, if that would be, that'd be awesome.
That'd be funny.
I'd have to send her a
Be the
message
first one
and
to
say,
actually
get
get
all the
through.
kids on the show.
Yep. We have
Then
real
we would look like the Brady Bunch up here. Yeah.
Yeah, we got to get lots of pictures of Harry.
Yeah.
That's for sure. So
Yeah. Don't bring home Harry and the Hendersons. So
I watched that movie while I was giving birth to my
Lindsay,
second kid.
Yep.
So, well, while I was waiting to give birth, the doctor was lazy. He didn't show up until 7:29.
I still remember when they had Bigfoot on the $6 Million Man.
Yeah.
Willie Majors. That was Andre the Giant in the costume.
Yeah, he could have talked to me about anything under the sun, but when I finally got to meet Lee Majors, he was telling all of us the story about how they tried to prank Andre the Giant because you couldn't just jump out of the suit. I mean, it took a long time to get in and out of the suit.
Mm-hmm.
So they put a whole bunch of diuretics in his beer. Andre had brought a small cooler with 6 beers in it, and he'd pop one open, take a sip, set it down, and somebody would slip diuretics in it. And we couldn't look at, you see, and they were all
Oh, man.
sitting up in the catwalks overhead because they were shooting on a soundstage, waiting for it to hit them, and it never ever did.
Wow.
With
I mean,
as
I was
big
16.
as that guy was,
Yeah.
it would take a lot.
Yeah.
So
Well, I'm
Have
just
any of you ever
thinking
met
whoever the
Andre
poor
the
soul
Giant?
that had to give him a ride home is the one that paid.
I saw him in a wrestling thing in Blytheville, Arkansas.
Andre?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
What
I
was
met
he?
him out at Junction City, Kansas. They had a wrestling match out there, right? And a bunch of us GIs went to it was like a Holiday Inn. It was a bar.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And everything right after the wrestling.
I know right where you're. Yeah, I know where it is.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
we did that.
anyway, in walks Bulldog Bob Brown, Andre the Giant, and a couple or 2 or 3 others. And we got to talking to them. So we're all sitting there with mugs of beer, right? Andre walks over with a pitcher and it looks like a mug in his hand. That's how big this man was. I'm 6'3", but walking up and looking at this 500 and some pound man, you're like, oh my God. Giants do exist. That's all you could think. But he was super nice. Michael was friends with Harley Race.
Really? Wow. Pretty cool. My wife, long before she met me, worked at a truck stop in Middle Virginia along 81. And one day, Hogan, Andre, Million Dollar Man Ted DiBiase, Virgil, Jake the Snake, all walked in together for dinner. Oh, I'm sorry, Macho Man was in the group too.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she met them all, and she had no idea who they were.
Of course.
I don't.
She didn't have they didn't have a TV.
Right. I wouldn't know who they are if they walked up to me, but the only reason I know this was when I saw Andre the Giant, it was when Andy Kaufman was still doing all that crap.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so it was a big deal back then. There was nothing else to do in the small town.
It was a big deal back then because those wrestlers were your everyday people. I mean, driving to the events and everything, I met so many of them at different times.
Yeah.
But to see them after they're in a wrestling match at an event where they entertain people and act like they're out there to kill them and beat them up and mad at each other. But as soon as the match is over, they're all out drinking beer and laughing and getting along.
Which
That
tells
was
you
the best part.
That's how you know that the fighting was actually fake. You
Mm-hmm.
know, that it was all an act, and people didn't want to hear that back in the day. But it is strange how the paranormal, so many paranormal people enjoy wrestling, or that's the other thing that they want to talk about. I know a lot of people that have shows that they do, one like a paranormal show and a wrestling show as well.
Exactly.
Or what Ron calls wrestling as opposed to wrestling.
Right. But yeah, it was a whole different ball game back in the early days of wrestling that you would watch on late Saturday night and everything. And it was fun to watch. And and you learn real quick in that type of deal in the old days, their mat had little white squares all over the place like they had patched it.
Yeah.
What a lot of people didn't realize was sewn into those squares were little bitty pieces of razor blades. So when they fell down, they could rub their head on it and get a little scratch and come up with blood coming down their face. And if a guy hit them a little bit, it would open it up and really bleed. So that's how a lot of that was done.
Sneaky.
Yeah, when we lived in Blyville, we had all not we, but the town.
Not me.
Town had all the wrestling from,
wrestling.
The Hearts and all that, Jerry Lawler, everybody there in Memphis. And then we also had, you'd get all the wrestling from TBS.
Mm-hmm.
So it was the beginning days of cable. You got to know everybody. And I mean, it was really weird. But then, you think about the Hart family. Well, there's two different Hart families. Everybody thought that they were one. Jerry Hart down in Memphis was not related to the Owen Hart that died there in Kansas City at Kemper.
Way over my head, guys.
That's going back to the paranormal.
Lost me.
It's going back to the paranormal because they say Kemper Arena is haunted by Owen Hart.
Yeah, they do say that.
Mm-hmm. See, got it back to paranormal.
I don't know if that was still open.
It does. It goes around. And you look into the wrestling world, you could say paranormal after a lot of things happened. You looked how many people were murdered that are affiliated with wrestlers, including wrestlers and their girlfriends and wives.
Yeah, there were quite a few. Way too much testosterone and steroids involved in a lot of that stuff. So
well, there's an episode of Celebrity Ghost Stories, which has not been on the air in years. Roddy Piper tells a story about running into the ghost of an ex-wrestler buddy of his one night. It's really worth watching.
Where at? At his house?
At his house, yeah. Yeah.
And I think I know which wrestler that was.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, kind
Um,
of tall, fat guy.
yeah, it's not an isolated incident, but it's Piper tells good stories.
I mean, he's a colorful guy.
Yes, he
So,
is.
Mhm.
Rowdy Roddy Piper is one of those guys that you couldn't help but listen to him, and and he was animated when he spoke. So
I used to go to the dog track and the horse track. You got to know different people out there, but there was a couple guys that worked security that we all became really good friends with. And I didn't know till later. They said, "You guys have been hanging out with two former wrestlers," and I said, "I had no idea."
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they were older, but I don't remember what the wrestling names were.
Oh yeah.
Well,
I'd say I didn't watch it. I didn't know. They never said anything about it. I don't. But they're real nice guys, fun to hang out with.
well, you all know a long time ago when I was good looking and had a body, I did security work in the AWA, which means I basically just hung around the ring and protected the wrestlers from the crowd and
Mm-hmm.
back and forth with them to the dressing room and all that BS. And the crowd has changed exponentially. Back in the 80s when I was doing it, we were afraid of the little old ladies with the walkers and the canes.
Yeah.
And the little kids. They would come right up if there was a ring, a divider between the ring and the audience, and they'd be swinging their canes and swinging their walkers at the wrestlers and tagging them and all that stuff. And the kids would be coming up and spitting and throwing things. Now, guys are different. Guys just sit there like this, go, it's fake. That's all they do. Sit there, go, it's all fake.
It is. we were little kids. Me and my brother were watching something they had in St. Louis. It was some wrestling thing, and they had some guy. He won every week. I don't remember his name. And we watched, I don't know, like 3 or 4 Sundays, and then one day my dad walks by and he says, "Why are you watching that crap?" We're like, "I don't know, it's funny." And he goes, "If they did that," he goes, "it's all fake." He goes, "If they did that for real, they'd be just killing
You'd
each
be
other."
dead.
And I said, "Oh yeah." So it's got to be fake. So quit watching. We're done. Never watched it again.
Well, to be very fair with you, the majority of what's on TV is fake. So what's your point?
Yeah.
I mean, when I was watching the who was playing yesterday? It was the Packers and Las
Raiders.
Vegas. I could have sworn it was fake up to a point because I saw plays that looked like they were being stretched out on purpose.
Yeah, that was just that was a hard one to watch.
Here's a question for Frank.
That's 2 teams. Not
April
very
put it
good.
out. Do you have any thoughts on why children this school year are having crazy behaviors all over the U.S.?
Oh, dear God, how can they help it? Dear God, look at what they're fed. Not just fed in the mind, but fed in their bodies. It's a wonder they don't explode. I mean, have you seen the foods we're feeding them and what's in them? I mean, there's very little real food anymore.
it's so much additives.
So, and about I dare you to go to the store and pick out foods that don't have a form of sugar in it. I mean, they have figured out how to squeeze sugars into almost everything, even where
Or the preservatives that's in
fake sugar.
everything.
Yeah,
Some kind of
And-
fake
and-
sugar.
and if you pay close attention, the whole world is basically designed to distract you. You can't focus on anything. It's not possible because you have everything and they're allowing a lot of the kids now to have cell phones in the classrooms. And dear God, you might as well not show up at all if that's the case.
I know.
Well, just look at
Denise can focus on her phone real well.
look at what's in your bread.
That's about it.
I mean, just look at bread.
Oh yeah, there's some that they got a new word for paper.
Cellulose fiber.
That's paper.
Mm-hmm.
And it's in the really soft breads to make it soft.
Right.
So you have to watch out for no high fructose corn syrup, which was the big bad thing 2 years ago. And so I don't get any bread with that in it or cellulose fiber. And you've got to be careful because it's in Wonder Bread. Okay, the bread that's supposed to be the best one for your kids, supposedly.
Yeah, and to complete the answer to this person's question,
It's April, my cousin.
hey April, thy cousin, is that the anxiety level is at an all-time high. Suicides are at an all-time high, not just here but globally. Sweden is the #1 country for suicides.
Yeah.
And in this country, more people are dying than are being born. And anxiety levels across the board are really, really tight. I mean, the tension level is very tight across the board. I mean, even if you're somebody who's kind of easygoing, you pick up on that.
Mm-hmm.
You have a sensitivity to it. I mean, there is such a thing as people, who with negative feelings who can bring down a room.
Yeah. I mean, we've had people walk into conferences and do it in line at Walmart. I mean, not to do the Walmart thing, but I've had people in the line at Walmart take it from fine and dandy to, oh my God, I got to get out of here. But this lady at Aldi on Sunday, Saturday, she suggested that we watch this documentary on Netflix called What the Help. She said it's really eye-opening. We're going to watch it and see what they have to say. But she said her husband, who never wants to change anything, has started changing stuff because of this documentary. What the hell?
Really?
Yes.
Yeah.
Check it out.
I'll look at it.
Maybe we can figure out what in the hell is going on, not only with our children, but with our country. Why are we eating? I mean, what are we eating? Do we even know? Look at the ingredients of, one of the things that I've brought up before, oatmeal.
Mm-hmm.
Strawberries and cream oatmeal in England has different ingredients than ours does.
Right.
Yep.
Why do we allow canola oil, rapeseed oil? Why do we allow it? Not grape, rapeseed. We allow that in all of our food, and it's outlawed in England.
I'm not going to call it a cheap vacation, but compared to others, it's rather inexpensive. But take a few days and go over to Bermuda, who lives according to an old world system.
Yep.
And they don't have food like we got it here. They got it like they got it in Europe, UK, Europe. And, it is absolutely night and day, different cultures. But one thing that occurred to me while Denise was talking, which kind of dovetails back to the original subject, is EMFs. Because as demand is increasing, we had to increase the load of electric usage for all communities everywhere. I made an analogy on the show, how I used to be able to drive through some towns at night when I was traveling to a job site, and I would have AM coast to coast AM on the radio. I like AM radio. I always have.
Too.
Now, I can't drive through some of those same towns and get those stations because they're blotted out by ever increasing EMF fields.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And that is pervasive, whether they're in the ground or over your head. Your body still picks up these things, and it saturates.
Mm-hmm.
Your body has an accumulation rate to this, and it's different for different people. But I'd like to point out this is how they used to kill people too. So it is harmful. That's why I put some of the things in my house on a separate circuit, and I only turn them on when I need to because they generate high EMFs just by sitting there.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
I mean, if you have a microwave antenna, a microwave, you got to watch it.
Yeah.
I mean, I hardly cook anything in a microwave.
Yeah, one study that was done about 10 years ago and laughed off completely was radiation that you pick up by simply holding your phone up to your ear.
Yep.
Had that study, a whole bunch of people said things, and we forgot about it. That hadn't gone away.
No,
I thought about that years ago. I thought that can't be too healthy for you because I know how cell phones work.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I don't know what holds kids together nowadays. They're tougher than I am. I wouldn't want to be a kid today, except for the only reason why I would want to be a kid is because of Taylor Swift. If I was 15 again, I would be all over that Taylor Swift thing.
Well, you got to be a little older because she's with Kelsey now.
and he needs to go away.
Mr. Pfizer.
I don't know about you, but anybody
Mr.
who's trying
Pfizer,
to
you
peddle,
mean? He's no longer. Yeah, that's his new name,
or Mr. Swifty.
as Aaron Rodgers calls him.
So,
Yeah.
The only
That was
reason
hilarious.
today is for the Taylor
He's pimping all that propaganda crap.
so many
Oh,
people
yeah.
didn't even know who he was until he started poking that beehive.
Well, the only ones that knew who he was football fans
Yeah, and
and
people.
stuff. But
Yeah.
now everybody knows who Kelsey is.
Her songs are horrible.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I can't stand her. So
I don't know what the. I don't know what they're
fans,
thinking.
but in the 1970s, everybody knew who Joe Namath was, whether they watched football or not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, he also posed naked in a magazine.
Yeah.
he
all the women knew him
videos
from
he wanted to.
Playgirl.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know.
He was centerfold in
Simpson did.
Playgirl. One of the very first ones.
Yeah. So, and Bill, yes, you're right. We make our own food. We make everything as much as we can from scratch, and
You know,
I wish I could grow my own food.
yeah,
but it
Frank, you
doesn't
said something that's real interesting. You said there's more people dying than being born. Is that in the United States? But
Globally.
you know, we were discussing this about a month or two ago, me and Denise, and then I discussed it with my mom. I said, you know, it's really weird is it seemed like when we were having kids, it seemed like you look around, every woman's pregnant. That's all you saw was pregnant women. I said, I can't remember the last time I've seen a pregnant woman. I said that maybe I don't see it or I don't notice it or what? Do you? You notice any pregnant
It
women?
was trendy.
Well, a lot of them
Think
aren't
about
having
it.
them
Think
because
about
they
it.
can't
When was the
afford
last time
one.
you saw one? I mean, April stopped having kids. That helped, but
she had for a lot of people.
she was spitting them out there for a while, just like
Like
it
me,
was weird. I don't see them anymore.
How many kids does April
I
have?
Myrtle.
Oh yeah, April knows I'm kidding.
How many kids has she got?
Seven boys.
7 boys.
7 boys.
7.
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
I don't know April. I'm sure she's great people, but
Oh yeah, she's
what I
great.
do know is she's had sex at least 7 times. That I know.
7 for 7. Yep. Great kids, great family. But yeah, you don't see any pregnant women. Like I said, I'm not going out trying to find them. You just don't see them. It's weird.
Oh, they're out there. They're most of them probably having people shop for them.
Oh, this is good.
Yeah. Oh, you beat me to it.
They're his sex trophies.
I never thought of that. That's pretty good. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Oh,
Imagine-
that's real
imagine
good.
calling your
I like
kids
that,
like
April. You better
Maybe he should get
copyright that
rings for
real
all
quick.
of them. you
yeah.
know,
See, Susan
Super
and
Bowl.
Mike. Yeah, they said they can't remember the last time they saw one either.
We have one in our neighborhood. She's due on Halloween. But you haven't seen her, have you?
No.
I did. I walked with them the other night when I was clean. I stopped cleaning the car to meet our neighbors.
I mean, it's not like don't go anywhere. I mean, we're all over the place. You think we would have saw one at the event
Well,
down
you would
in
have thought
Pensacola.
we would have seen one Saturday at the big yard sale here.
But this is a
Yeah,
global
they're down.
phenomenon. People are actually dying more than people are being born. And you could thank a hell of a lot of circumstances to this, but suicides are at an all-time high.
Yeah.
That number could be 0, and still too many people are dying more than people are being born.
Right.
Especially in this country. And again, it goes back to how kids have got to be tougher today than they were when I was a kid, because there's a lot more to weed through than it was when Denise and I were kids.
I'm surprised we made it.
It's probably more mental nowadays because of their dumb phones. Other
Well,
kids.
I can attribute that to the
Tell
last
them
10
that.
years. I mean, I can only attribute the phone problem to the last 10 years. And the okay,
Oh,
now
I'll put that up for you.
Oh,
Oh, did you put it up?
I got.
what
There you
So, guys, that's the new question. I expect to hear you guys asking this to everybody.
I was
How many
told-
sex trophies do you have?
I was told 4, so I gotta go.
He's gonna have less.
Oh, that is good.
I don't know how. If I have no
Hey,
idea.
you learned something tonight, Frank. I did too.
I just see April's husband high fiving the guys tomorrow at work.
Yeah.
I see Ron sleeping in the shed.
I haven't built it yet. Better get started.
That honeydew list is getting longer every day.
I better get started.
Yeah, but scripturally speaking, also, and I got to do that because I'm a Bible teacher, is that when I was talking before about how everybody, it's tougher for people mentally today than it used to be because of all the extenuating circumstances. I mean, everybody's tense, and everybody is it's hard to be comfortable anymore. I couldn't help but notice going through the channels that everything is loud and everything's got to go fast.
Mm-hmm.
Everything. It's got to go fast. Like time is running out. And we understand time is running out.
That's broken and slow.
Same as my soap operas, they go really slow.
Yeah, that's the female roast.
That they do.
Yeah. Now, imagine you grew up in a culture where you really weren't given time to kind of sit and collect and think, where you got to move on to this, move on to that, and just move on. And there's all these expectations that come with it. And, it's just tough to be a kid, I think. It really is.
There's so much that they're being bombarded with these days that, one of the things I've told everybody on here before is, I used to walk to school in Patterson, New Jersey in kindergarten. And I would walk there with my neighbors. I would walk back for lunch by myself, walk back to school after lunch by myself, and then walk back with the neighbors.
Mm-hmm.
The odds of a kid walking that far now, it wasn't that far. It was probably 5 blocks. I mean, I can look online and see how far it was. You wouldn't let your kid go 2 blocks without a parent.
Yeah.
Or without you driving them.
2-3 miles, easy.
You wouldn't let
On
your
our
kid.
bikes.
I mean, yeah, but be
No, a lot
honest.
further than that.
We wouldn't let our kids go that far without us with them nowadays. I mean,
No.
I'm not going to let Ruby go down the street. But
And in addition to that, is that I was watching local news this past week, and as soon as somebody mentioned Halloween, came a news story of where, they're making fentanyl look like child's Halloween candy. So you got to be vigilant of. And how the heck are you going to test for that?
You're not. So then keep your kid home.
Yeah, lock them in a cage and never let them out. It's the only way you're going to be
Right.
sure.
Right. You keep that, or only take them to people that you know and trust.
Mm-hmm.
Now my grandson Ruby, only thing he eats is Reese's cups.
Well, I really can't fault him.
Nope, can't, because he gets it from his grandma.
Oh, yeah.
So, and my granddaughter, she loves Reese's cups too. So needless to say, as long as their Reese's cups are fine, they're going to be good. And, don't eat candy that looks like it's been opened.
Right.
Or you can go to the ER and get it irradiated and find out what's going on with it, which does not help matters any.
No.
Yeah, we just had to worry about razor blades back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
That and pins.
Yep.
But I never came across anything ever in my candy in 50 some odd years.
No, we never did either.
No.
So, and I mean, I used to walk around, well, I don't know if you remember the Village of Tall Trees where there were questionable people. I went trick-or-treating there, never got anything bad. If I'm going to go in a bad neighborhood
That was
by
called
myself, that was the name of the
Village of Tall Trees.
The Village of Tall Trees. It was an apartment complex. Well, townhome. What they call townhomes here, what we called row homes there.
Well, it's like growing up in the very small town I did. On Halloween, you go trick-or-treating all the way around town.
Yep.
You had one house that everybody called the lady in there Grandma Prothero, right? and you make sure you made it to that house at least once, twice if you was lucky in the same night. She made these gigantic cinnamon popcorn balls that were delicious. And she would even give one if your mom was driving the little kids around. She'd give the little kids one and say, take this to your mom. Because she probably got one somewhere in her lifetime.
Yeah.
But you couldn't do that nowadays. You know, because you don't know what's in it. What people
you
would
could.
put in.
Well, it's just like, you know.
Yeah, we had people make cookies, make their own cookies and
cupcakes and hot dogs.
Yeah, cupcakes. They put them in a bag and put them in there. It's like, that ain't candy, but that's close enough.
Over in Lindsay's neighborhood in Pace, they got people over there that are giving out hot dogs and other stuff. We are not the house. Well, we're not the house that's going to be giving out Jell-O shots, so we're not going to be popular.
Yeah, we got a niece that gives out Jell-O shots.
But there may be somebody in that neighborhood that is. So
in the new one.
Yeah, this is our first year of anybody in this neighborhood, and we're doing an event with all the people are getting together and doing games and crap for the kids.
Well, if any trick-or-treaters come to my house this year, we're just going to give them each a bag of sugar.
Why not?
Go home and make your own goodies.
Yeah.
That's right.
Just give them what is it? What do they call it? Never mind. Not white sugar. Don't give them refined sugar. Give them that raw sugar. It's a little more expensive. They'll at least feel like they got something for your money.
Yeah, we do pretty good. We usually have between 75 and 100 kids.
Do you really?
Oh, yeah. And all ages. We're talking from 16, 17, all the way down to 2 or 3. Last year was real good.
Yeah.
This kid was dressed up in a 6-foot tall chicken suit. He's only
I remember
3.5 foot. Huh?
I remember you telling us about that.
Yeah. Okay. He came up to the door. I called him up to the door. He was out in the street with his dad. Dad comes up there, and I gave him a bunch of candy because I said, "Kid, you got balls. Walking around in that suit, you can't even hardly see out of the thing, and Dad's sitting there telling you which way to go, and this big yellow chicken is out there walking around." So
we had 3 kids.
Later that day, it was on an episode of In Search of.
Yeah, our first house we had a lot. We had quite a few, but the last house we were at, the most I ever had was 12. I have no idea why.
We get a lot. They drive them around on little trailers with straw bales on them.
Yeah,
like a hayride and everything, and pull them with a golf cart or an ATV and stuff, and they'll pull up in the center of the block out here and hit the 4 houses on the corner.
That's a good way to do it. I like that.
Yeah,
it is. It's real good.
You can really keep track of everybody that way.
You can, and
in Kansas City,
especially
Missouri.
the little bitty ones.
Yeah, when we lived in Kansas City, Missouri, we couldn't tell you how many kids we had. We'd be out of candy by 8:00 half the time, and of course we had some icy nights that we went out trick or treating and all that other stuff. But we always had kids. Ron could dress up a little bit and play scare the kid and all that other stuff. And our kids would go to the neighbors' houses, and the neighbors would take pictures and all that. It was fun. We moved to this house out in Lewisburg. We live on a dead end, and there was no street light when we first moved there. Didn't matter if we had lights up pumpkins. Only the neighbors that knew us would come.
Right.
And you had to drive right by our house to get into the neighborhood. And you see all these cars going up the street.
Yeah.
Never come to our house. And so
they just kind of look and go,
like I was telling somebody the other day, that's when I started basically working at the Sally House on Halloween. There was nobody in there.
Yeah, we just pretty much were going up to Atchison. They wanted us up there for something on Halloween.
Yeah.
So we
I
just started going up there because it's too boring.
The only time he didn't go.
You look at how many places are. You look at how many places that are doing trunk and treat now.
Yeah.
The church parking
Weekend
lot,
before.
school parking lots, and
Mhm.
everything, where they line up 40, 50 cars and the kids walk up and down each car and stuff. That's how a lot of the towns now are letting them go trick or treating.
And see, I think that's kind of worse because you don't know where you got that candy from, who that person is that came to town. You know, they're not doing any registration for that in most
No.
cases. So
No.
just anybody who shows up. So I think that's worse in some cases. I did it last year at the Lewisburg elementary school, took the kids over
Mhm.
there, and then we took them wherever it is they wanted to go. But here this year, we don't know anybody, so we're going to go over to Lindsay's neighborhood. And then there's a bunch of events in Pensacola, as well as Gulf Breeze and Navarre. They got some stuff on the boardwalk, which sounds interesting.
Yeah, my daughter's neighborhood. We went there for the 4th. The whole street was just covered in smoke from fireworks. I mean, everybody was blowing them off. It was just covered. And my daughter said, "Yeah." I said, "How was the Halloween over there?" I said, "Was it anything like 4th of July?" And he goes, "Yeah, the only difference is it was covered with fog."
Yeah.
Everybody had the fog machines going. So yeah, they get in every holiday there.
Yeah.
That's where we're gonna go. I'm gonna go over and help scare kids.
We just bought
And I
some.
see a lot more of the haunted house attractions starting up
Yeah.
in a lot of different places now.
Yep. Oh, I like doing those too.
Yeah.
Yeah. When we first moved to Lewisburg, they had one out in the woods.
Mhm.
We load them up on a trailer with the hay ride, and then bring them back into the woods and
Yeah.
scare the hell out of them.
I know
They
Scott
stopped doing that.
down
Yeah.
there in Jonesboro, they've got their Scared City Productions house,
Yep.
haunted house going,
Yep.
and they teamed up with Terror Ridge down there. So they've got the main house, another building, and another building. And this week they'll be starting an escape room in the old jail that they got there. So, yeah, he said they had a real good turnout.
I've always wondered why
Friday,
somebody hasn't
Saturday.
done a haunted escape room thing yet.
They probably have.
Not a bad idea.
That is a good idea.
Now,
Yeah.
I'm one of those idea people.
They probably have done that already. We just don't know it.
We just haven't heard about it.
Because, I mean, there's so many escape rooms in old haunted buildings. I could see where it probably already exists. Probably exists here in Pensacola with all the crap they had down in Seville Square.
Yeah, my wife went to go do one of them there corn mazes. And I said, "You really want to be doing that? I mean, you panic when we turn out the lights and you can't find the door. Are you sure you really want to be doing that?"
She wants to do it during the day. She just wants to go for a walk. There's a corn maze here. They want $16 a person to go through the damn thing.
The walk in the cornfield. Okay.
For a kid, and any kid over 2, it's $16. I'm like,
Yeah.
No.
Uh-uh.
And Tim, there are these lovely green Kit Kats that have marshmallow flavoring on them. They were horrible. Just a heads up. So, didn't like those. So, I don't know. It's just, but when we go back to that subject of Halloween, it's going to be different here, I think. I'm going to take the kids out.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot different.
And do some different things with them before that. But are we going to have a show on Halloween?
I don't know if I'll get enough candy.
What day is Halloween?
Tuesday.
No,
Well,
we won't have a show
I watched
on
it
Halloween.
last year, and it honestly looked like a military drill. All right, kids, let's go. Get out of the truck here. Okay, let's get up there. Let's go up to that house. And you see the parents standing in front, looking around while the kids are knocking on the front door, and ushering the kids to the next house. And they're looking around while the kids are knocking on. It looked like a military operation. I mean, imagine being a little kid and going through that kind of hassle.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, do you mean the Winchester house, or do you mean
Winchester? Yeah.
or is it the Winston house? So,
All right.
just asking.
Now, when I was in the Air Force, I'd always try and get back for Halloween. One year I went back, I dressed like vampire because I had a wooden box that my mom and dad wanted me to get rid of, and they never got rid of it.
Manchester.
Yeah. So I propped it up by the front door. If you come up there, I mean, you could see me as a vampire sitting in this box like a coffin.
Mm-hmm.
And I had kids, you know, they're a little apprehensive coming up there, and then they kind of look and go, "Oh, that's a real person," and that. But later in the night, there wasn't as many kids out there, and I was I was all propped up, and I could see down the driveway and out into the street. And this little kid, he wasn't very old at all. I don't know, 4, maybe 5, but he starts walking up the driveway, and his mom goes, "Are you going up to this house?" And he's just kind of looking. He could see me, and she goes, go on up there. You know, it's not going to hurt you." And the kid walks a little bit further, and she goes, "Come on, we don't have all night," and just kept going on for a while. And finally, the mom says, "Are you going up there or not?" And he's kind of pointing. And she goes, "I'll walk up there with you. It's not real. It's just a dummy." And she grabs the kid by the hand. And he's kind of lagging behind. She walks right up there, and she goes, "See, that's just a dummy." And I had my arms crossed, and I sat up, and I said, "Ma'am, I resent that." Oh my God. She like screamed, took off running down the drive, and the kid's just pointing and laughing. I said, "Here you go. Here's your candy." He's like he's looking at her like, "What's wrong with her?" Yep.
She remembers.
It was funny. The look on her face was, she thought I was literally a dummy. The kid knew I wasn't. But when I sat up, that was it.
By the way, I'm reading foreign newspapers while I'm talking to you, and a UK paper has something funny. Guys would relate to this. Female frogs appear to fake death to avoid unwanted advances. Wow, it's good to know we have a lot in common with frogs.
Oh, isn't it though?
What we have poop on our windowsill outside, and I thought it was rat poop.
No.
It's either frog
or
lizard poop. I'm not going to test it to find out.
They're all over our windows. So.
But we have tree frogs that are on our windows every night. They're drawn by the light. But the lizards, I don't usually see them. I mean, most of the ones I see are like this big.
No,
not very big.
Pretty decent size.
But Ron has seen, bigger ones, and Lindsay's got bigger ones over there. I know there's bigger ones than that, but this is all I ever see. So, but I don't know.
Gary just got in.
Gary just got in on Rumble.
Ah, wow. Wonder what took so long.
So he figured he finally.
Rumble having issues?
No,
Rumble's doing great.
Okay.
Hey, Gary.
We've got
Hey,
6
Gary.
people over on Rumble watching us right now.
Well,
Denise, you remember back in the late 70s when Skylab was coming back down to Earth and everybody thought it was going to come down and beam you right on the head?
yes, I remember saying if it's going to land on me, just
They
do
used
it.
to sell people umbrellas and hard hats and stuff like that.
I remember.
The International Space Station is going to be coming back down because it's developing a whole bunch of leaks. And I just read another story where they're putting together this big NASA program where they're going to send up a space shuttle, of all things, that they retired, to sling it, grab it, and shoot it towards the ocean.
Oh, to make sure that it doesn't ricochet off of something important. Okay.
Yeah, and land right on top of your house. Yeah. I mean, unfrickin' believable.
Wow.
Indian Ocean. Send it to the Indian Ocean.
Well, it's a good thing now we have Indians on the moon, because if you're ever in space and you get a little case of the hungries, you can always go to the moon, hit the 7-Eleven, and just pick up a Slurpee, maybe a thing of donuts.
Make sure you use your 7-Eleven app. I had to download it. My sister sent me a thing a couple years ago and said, she goes, we're trying to get everybody to download the app. She goes, download the app.
They said
I'm like, there's no 7-Elevens by me. There still isn't. There's no 7-Elevens here.
Well, what's the neat thing nowadays is
They said they couldn't even fake that one very good.
everybody's taking pictures in the dark at night around here
Mm-hmm.
where you see Starlink satellites all in a row.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I saw that last month.
Oh, yeah, they're popping up all the time now.
As UFO pictures?
Nobody has said UFO. They all say Starlink.
Oh, thank goodness.
Yeah, I've been waiting for somebody to say, oh, we're being attacked. Look at the 11
Mars
UFOs
attacks,
out
huh?
there. Yeah. But yeah,
Yeah.
they've been doing it just about every night. Starlink, some of their satellites come into view where you can see them all lined up in a row.
Susan and Mike have an app on their phone that tells them, that it's going across, and they get pictures of it a lot.
Right.
So I haven't seen it yet. I've seen the ISS up there, but that's been about it. And that was when we were at Dauphin Island. Dara might remember that if she's listening. Maybe even Caitlin.
That's where we saw one of the UFOs we encountered. Remember Dauphin Island?
Yep.
Yeah, we saw the ISS about I don't know, 13 years ago when we were living up around Lake Ontario. That was awesome. That thing shot through the sky very fast.
Oh, yeah.
Wasn't like the Link. That was moving much slower.
Oh, okay. Yeah, like I said, I have yet to see Starlink. I would say I don't know where's the flight path for that?
You could track that online.
know.
Oh, I know.
Yeah,
that.
you can track it online.
Yeah,
That's what
Susan and Mike do.
Because how many satellites does
Walker Ranch,
Elon
they were
have
trying to
up
line it
there?
up
I
to
know
do
it's
that
up
one
in the
experiment.
thousands.
It's funny you brought that up because I don't know which one it was, but I was reading last week where one of these IT companies that launches these is going to be sued by, I forgot who it was, but they're being sued because they're leaving so much satellite junk up there.
Yeah, garbage.
And so much of it is coming back in the atmosphere
Yeah.
that they're being charged with littering.
4,500.
4,500 satellites?
There are over 4,500 Starlink satellites orbiting Earth. What appear to be long lines that are recently launched satellites approaching their place in orbit.
And it isn't just those. I mean, there's stuff still flying around up there from the Apollo and Gemini program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Big things, big as a house.
We've seen stuff come back into the atmosphere, space garbage.
That's pretty neat.
And it looks really
Yeah,
interesting.
it's
and
a lot of it too. A lot of space
it
junk.
was reported on our news in Kansas City because people started calling the cops, and it was around Christmas. So we told our kids it was Santa Claus was doing test runs with the reindeer.
A lot of them.
Yeah.
See, there's more than one Rudolph.
It went on. It went on for quite a while.
Yeah, until it burned up.
Yeah.
And so when the news came on that night, we saw, hey, it's space garbage because, we didn't have readily accessible internet at that time.
Right.
So, and we have down in Lewisburg, we had a big telescope down there. They had not a planetarium, but they had the telescope where they reported a lot of that stuff out there. So,
Right.
And Susan shared the link to find Starlink.
FindStarlink.com.
So
Yeah, now this only gets worse. The technology might get better. They'll send up smaller packages.
Yeah.
But, I mean, thousands upon thousands of these things are orbiting the Earth. I mean, it's going to get to be a problem. I mean, problem. So
Well, it's like the old saying, what goes up must come down sometime.
Mm-hmm.
gravity works on everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's going to be more and more of it's not for any good.
Yeah, no, I just said the space station is leaking, and they're going to literally have to drag that out of orbit. Its orbit is pretty secure. They're going to have to drag that out of orbit and force it back into the atmosphere.
Yep.
That's why they want to send up a space shuttle.
So if it goes into the ocean, are they going to actually recover it, or are they going to let it become artificial reef?
Yeah, it's Russian, so they'll probably just leave it where it is.
I don't know. There's something about that just kind of bothers me.
Well,
Well, all this AI they got going on right now is something else.
Even though that's, some of the stuff that I do is related,
Yep. Now we got.
but it's not. It's still, mine still has all people involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the timing of the attack on Israel, kind of interesting. I mean, it wouldn't have happened if another president was in there, but it's a good time to do all this.
Almost any other president.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, they were scared of Reagan because he
they're afraid of Trump.
in Libya. But they attacked. They attacked Israel anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And like I said, I've been watching this more than 55 years, and I've been younger. And all they need is they don't even need a reason, just an opportunity. But I was watching the news stories, and what I watch for is curious because it wasn't about the fact that the attacks are happening. It's when the world opinion changes in favor of Hamas and the Palestinians and against Israel. And that just now is starting to happen. Oh yeah, you've got to attack them, Hamas and all them, because they attacked you and did bad things. But hey, ease up. Don't be so mean. I mean, they have rights. I mean, be cool, man.
You don't have rights when you're the aggressor trying to get rid of an entire group of people.
Yeah,
their religion.
When I was reading the global papers today, that's the language that's coming out now. Is that the UN is worried about
they
Israel
teach that in colleges.
And I'm not.
You got professors that teach that in college.
And I'm not good with. I'm not
Harvard,
good with
Columbia. Just to be, there's two prime examples.
And if anybody's out there that's listening and they're all for getting rid of the entire Jewish community, go away. I don't want to hear it. My children, my daughter's Jewish. I don't want to hear it.
And by the way, if you are in that club, everybody's entitled to an opinion. But
yeah,
I would like to point out, just for the fun of it, that other people who shared your opinion were Nazis. Have a good day.
Not my opinion.
Right.
For anybody who's under the impression that Jews should go away, one way or the other, or they're in the same kinship with the Nazi Party. Congratulations, enjoy your day.
Yeah, some of the people that I love the most in this world are Jewish. Some of the people I love in this world are not Jewish. I don't want to see people out there killing each other over religion. We've already fought that fight. That's why we have America.
Mm-hmm.
And I just haven't. This war bothers me more than almost anything else. And here we are, we're sending Israel weapons, but yet we're sending cash to the Ukraine.
Yeah.
What's the difference?
I know what the difference is.
Money laundering.
You can't money launder if you're sending just weapons.
Our
Most
country,
of that money that gets laundered, that goes back to the Democrat Party.
Right. We send the funds to Iran that backed Hamas.
Right.
Into this.
Yep.
So now we got to send weapons to Israel because the United States loves playing both parts.
Mm-hmm.
You guys are going to think I'm off my nut. I had a thought today, and I want your opinion. Global climate change is a religion.
Yeah, it is.
It's not a science in any way.
No, it's a religion.
It is a religion.
Yeah, it's a cult.
It occurred to me, what would be the best way to jack up global oil prices and force more countries to go green? Well, a war would do it.
Yeah.
You have no
war is money.
That's got something to do with this.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's all. I just stopped watching the news today. I was like, I can't watch this. I don't want to hear about more Americans that are being stranded in another country.
Mm-hmm.
So they've been killed, and some of these people have been killed in horrendous ways, and I don't want to know how. I really don't want to know. Because if you weren't depressed before, you will be after you watch the news.
We might as well get used to it, because I'm going to tell you right now, with Biden's policies and the open borders for these years, We don't know who in the hell's here. But I will tell you one thing. There are people here that are terrorists, and we don't know it yet. But they're going to be doing the same stuff. Same stuff here.
We talked about this last night.
And that's because of a piss poor government right now.
Well, Biden is essentially doing what the UN.
He ain't going to get hurt.
Just like Obama.
He's fine sitting in the White House. Then none of those people will get hurt. It'll be us.
Because I either watch global news programs or read global newspapers like I am now, I came to realize that any and all sovereign nations have border crises. They're being Italy, Belgium, you name it. They're being overwhelmed with migrants from war-torn sections of the world, or less friendly portions of the world. But it's a global problem, and it's by design. The UN is actually pushing this because they would love to see the absolute dissolution of all borders everywhere.
Yep.
And we can't let that happen.
Mm-mm.
We just can't let that happen, because one world order is not going to solve the problem. Nope. In fact, that would make us all slaves. All of us.
Mm-hmm.
Not just who you want to be a slave. You're going to be taking that
third joke.
You'll be taking that job that you didn't have to put, you didn't pick.
They need to disband that.
And Bill, the news doesn't over exaggerate stuff. They over exaggerate it, but they also under report it.
Right.
So some of the stuff that we need to know, we're covering it up. You're not going to see it. Everything else that they want us to look at is like, hey, look at me. And it's a distraction. So what are we being distracted from? Well, apparently we were being distracted from knowing that Israel was going to be hit again. We lived a lot of years without knowledge of that. We're going back to where we were back in the 70s, where they're fighting more about religion, and we're going to be seeing it every day now.
Oh, yeah. Every day you're seeing it somewhere in the world. But this is just the only, here you got Russia and Ukraine going. Now you got Hamas and Israel going. The next step is China is going to invade Taiwan.
When's the PLO coming back?
And they're going to do it before the election.
Yep.
You're
going to have a lot of major skirmishes going on. And the only thing that brings this country together is what we call a scared event, like 9/11, Oklahoma City bombing, things like that, and everything is the only time everybody in this country basically comes together.
And the thing is we have way too many people saying, don't hurt Hamas. We're watching these people that are for Hamas out there, which is totally against everything we've been raised to believe.
Right.
Well, they're on the wrong side.
They are on the wrong side. Of course, is the communist party.
The Nazis, everybody knew back then they were on the wrong side, but still, they had enough people that were for it.
Right.
I don't know. Just
Bill, you mentioned scared events of World War III. Exactly.
I think people should start not watching, as Frank calls it, your compliant major news networks, and start thinking for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you, I never had a better time with news than between June 17th and when we got TV. I loved not having news. Our reporter was Carl. Carl would go, did you see this? And it's like, no. How long did we tell you we didn't see something?
I know, a long, long time.
And I don't miss it. I don't want, the only time the news we've been watching is business news. And guess what? That's the only thing on is this war. So.
Yeah, it goes back to the thing about, children nowadays, the tension levels are so high. You're being exposed to so much more of what's going on. You're seeing people dying over here, drowning over here, suffering over there. And you're wondering, there is a part of the human mind that thinks that can happen to you. Mm-hmm. And so,
I guarantee it's going to happen here.
Yeah.
thousands of people here. We don't know. They're terrorists. Let's call it what it is.
Now,
They're just sitting and waiting till they got their orders.
now I kind of
Yeah,
wish we were
'cause
back in Kansas. where
What's
nobody
coming
was
across
worried.
that southern border down there
Had
isn't
no clue.
Mexico people. They're last thing
Anybody.
I heard was 127 countries have came across our southern
Oh
border.
yeah, more
That's
than
what.
that.
But the thing is that's what we're told. How many really?
They're guessing. They don't know.
Which countries
Yeah,
are?
they don't know how
Wide open.
many gotaways.
No.
No, they were talking
None
about
of
that
them.
today. And not only the gotaways, the ones that are still on their way.
Hi, Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy.
Howdy ho. And so that's one of the things we've got to start thinking about. What's next? What's next? And yeah, I can see where these children these days, if they're watching anything that like we're watching, I can guarantee that they would probably be terrified.
Mm-hmm.
If
Well, I
they
can
knew.
tell you one thing that's next. Trump absolutely cannot be president because the first thing he's going to do when he gets in is slam the borders shut.
Yeah.
So, that's why there are people who really think there's a bullet with his name on it out there. They'll do anything to prevent him
They will.
taking us back to that.
Oh, yeah. Besides that, if Trump gets elected president, right, we got 4 more years of him fighting the government on impeachment charges every time they
Internal,
turn
yeah.
around.
Internal bullshit.
Right. So
Well, that's
that takes
baked into
away
the
from what
Constitution right
a
there.
real president should do.
Mhm.
Hi, Nikki.
Yeah, they're going to go after China is going to go after Taiwan before the next election. They don't know how much they have to cheat to win this next election because they got a wrench thrown in it with RFK
Going independent.
He's going independent.
Yes.
That's going to take Democrat voters away. That's not going to hardly touch a Republican.
Yeah, let's
Now
have
they
a
got to
little
figure out how much they need to cheat. They know it's going to be a lot worse than the last election. And you know how we know? We know they cheated. We were election officials. There's no way the state of Kansas would have let them do what they did in the cheating states.
Right.
But we also know about the Ross Perot debacle.
Yep.
And because of him, Clinton got the win.
Now you think somebody may have a bullet with their name on it?
RFK.
Well, let's have a
Now
little
the
fun.
history.
How much
the
do you know
history
the
of it.
history? Everybody tell me, why was his dad assassinated?
Exactly.
Same
reason. They didn't want him to be president.
The thing is
Right.
you know what? I was not born at that point.
Yeah,
But I know enough about it.
5 years old, maybe.
I was only this big.
Yeah, I was too young, but I studied history.
And
Well,
I
didn't
still
take much
remember
to
seeing
figure
the
out.
newspaper.
Yeah.
I
It didn't
still
take
remember the
long to
next
figure
day
it out.
seeing the newspaper with RFK and the blood coming out the back of his head. I still remember that newspaper.
Yeah.
Hey, I remember where I was at when John F. Kennedy was assassinated.
I don't remember
I
because I
don't.
wasn't born.
I do.
I don't remember
Duh.
much, but I remember playing on this grassy knoll and we were picnicking. And I just really don't. It's not all coming back to me immediately.
Yeah.
You know
No,
what?
you know where the whole rest area is on I-35, Denise and
Yeah.
Ron, right?
Yep.
Papa was hauling gravel down there when they were building it and stuff when it came over the radio. And I was in the truck with him. Because I can remember when we got down there, Papa got out and told everybody, have you been listening to the radio? So, yeah. It's something else.
My mom.
Yeah, this
my mom talked about
RFK,
it.
he's going to screw a lot of things up for the Democrats.
And I think
I'll be actually shocked if we have an election in 2024.
Oh, it'll be
Way
the
things
messiest
are
thing
going.
you'd ever seen in your life.
Oh, I know. They don't want one. They never do. Because they're the ones cheating.
When Bush and Gore were going at it, I was on a movie set in Richmond, Virginia, and I
Yeah.
remember being in the dressing room with all the other guys. We're in wardrobe, and we were all
Dumbest
arguing
people
about the
ever.
election. before it went into the Supreme Court. And all of us had the same consensus. Really, is this all we've got to pick from? I mean,
Yeah,
can we do better than this?
I know.
Well,
And it's
again,
still the same way.
well, I tell everybody that South Park had it right. It's always between a douchebag and a
Yeah,
turd
we got
sandwich.
330 million people, and it's like we keep getting this the same two. Really, we can't find nothing else.
No.
A brain dead idiot.
So I want to ask you a question before we end the show, because it's coming up on that. If you were to go, if you could time travel, would you go forward or
I
backwards?
think we asked him this.
No.
What?
Mhm.
Oh, dear God. Ooh.
Mhm.
We should have won.
No, I'm sorry, forward. Excuse me, backwards.
Yeah.
Okay,
About everybody
and-
says.
And would you change what event would you go back to? It didn't have to be in your life, but if you had to go back to an event in history, which event would you go back to?
Well,
Oh, Bill says forward. Interesting.
Mhm.
Very few say
Yeah.
forward.
you
That's
see, here's the problem. The question will cause me to remember. And when I remember, I'm living it again. Just like when I think about encountering the Aberdeen Wildman, I actually am standing in the marshes and I can smell it all again. I can feel it all
right.
again. So I would like to not answer the question because I just don't want to live that again.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah, I get all emotional and stuff, and I don't want to.
See, for
Well,
me,
you don't have to go that far back.
So, and one of the things
You
that
go back to
that I had
10
said
years ago.
was
Mhm.
I would have liked to have gone back to when either JFK or Martin Luther King had been killed and see if there was a way to stop those from happening.
Mm-mm.
You know, because the biggest thing would be Martin Luther King, I think. I think that that was a catalyst for a lot of things, you know, because we're all fighting, you know, we all fight racism every day. At least that's what they want us to believe, is that we're fighting racism every day. But maybe it would have changed racism on a global level as opposed to just a United States level.
Yeah, okay. People are going to hate me for saying this, but I think it would have happened with or without Dr. King.
Yeah.
It probably would.
He was a figurehead, and
I mean,
you know, Johnson did not have to do any of this. And what people miss, they fail to look at the process. And the process was the bill he was signing was actually voted on by a 99% white Congress and white Senate, who agreed to it and sent it to Johnson to put his signature on. Those that 99% white Congress and that 99% white Senate all share the billing. They should all share the credit in putting that through. It isn't just one man. He was
Right.
just a figurehead.
but I mean, that's the way it always is. There's always one thing that everybody sees as the beginning or the end,
Right.
and that's the way we look at it. But
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah,
not
there's
saying
no way
that's right.
Johnson. There's no way Johnson could have done an executive order and provided this. It had to be done through.
He didn't want it.
You know,
Yeah.
and there's a lot, and with every
This party didn't want it.
yeah, a lot of people didn't want it, but it was the right thing to do.
Right.
And really, quite honestly,
They fought it for years.
it just like so much other stuff that comes down, it really isn't all that necessary because it's already codified in the Constitution.
And so, where can everybody find you, Frank?
Hiding, probably.
Writing?
I'm not gonna do, I don't have any events scheduled, even though I'm being asked to go on some events. I might be coming to Tallahassee in the beginning of November. I don't know. I haven't confirmed it yet for a show. But until then, just look for me on Amazon. That's where you can find my books and all the kinds of cool stuff and you know, stuff and rumors about Dawn Wells and whatever.
Check out a search for Frank J. Bennett and Don Wells, and you'll get an earful.
Who started these rumors, Frank?
All I know is that there are people, there are certain individuals out in Hollywood, very slimy people who religiously follow my Facebook looking for stuff. And there are days I so badly want to give it to them, but quite honestly, I want to
Waste
just
of
keep
time.
moving forward. Thank you.
So,
You know,
but
it ain't
yeah,
going to do any good to go back and visit that stuff.
no, it wouldn't.
Right.
So, and I hope all of you guys will join us next Tuesday night when our guests are Michael Kratz and his wife, Tarina. They're going to be on with us. They're going to be talking about complete holistic coaching and wellness. They run a business down here in Fort Walton. And I think it'll be interesting to find out how we can make our lives better through, what books, what is it they're going to share with us. We're going to all find out together. I think it'll be eye-opening. And because I really don't know how a life coach is going to help me. I really don't. So we're going to find out.
You never know.
Right.
But they seem like really nice people.
Good.
Oh, it'd be interesting to know what I've been doing wrong all this time.
Yeah, I'd like to know. And and April asked for somebody about dreams.
Yeah, I
do
was going to
have some
say,
people.
April, you might want to tune in next week and ask
Right.
some questions. Maybe they can help you because I don't think we can. on that.
I'm thinking that these quantum healing hypnosis
Maybe.
technique might be able to help you because they talk about some dream stuff and I'm
Oh.
learning about that. So, but I do have some things out there that will come into play. And Kat is so nice that you're here. So
I like Kat. She's
It's
got such a nice potty mouth.
it's a different Kat.
Oh,
But
this
she
is a different Kat.
is from the Maryland area, so
Yeah,
she probably
she's
does have a potty
Cat
mouth.
Snyder
Maybe
Gat.
she doesn't have a potty mouth. Yes.
So
Right.
so yeah.
Yeah.
And I don't have a guest yet for Monday, but I will find one and I will let you guys know who it is. So join me on Mondays at 7 p.m. Central for the Paranormal Pride, and here on Tuesdays with Carl.
Right. And always check out the Bill of Rights Network on Facebook. It has a list of all our shows as you see running across the screen down there. You can find us on Rumble on Born TV over there. You'll find us on the Temple of Phoenix Rising Entertainment's Facebook page, Things Network Facebook page, and Japan Paranormal Facebook page. So check us all out over there. But I want to thank Frank for joining us tonight on Paranormal Nation Radio Show.
Thank you, Frank.
Everything. So everybody have a good evening, and we'll see you next week here on Paranormal Nation Radio. Have a good night.